Alright, so in today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and what I mean by that is that we're going to be doing a little bit of a guide on the brand new Grow a Garden update. And yes, by the way, that is going to be including absolutely everything that you're going to need to know. For example, what's the best way to get pollinated flowers and stuff. So then that's where, of course, you could make a bunch of honey, and then from there you could use that honey to go on over to the shop over here, get yourself the brand new seed packs where you can go ahead and get yourself the brand new sunflower, and then as well as only that, how to get a bunch of the bee eggs, so then that way you can get a chance at getting yourself the queen bee egg, or pets, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, if you find this video helpful, then make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and without further ado, let's jump right into this. Alright, so first things first, let's get the basics down. How exactly do you get honey? Well, basically, what happens is that as you play the game, bees are going to be visiting your island, and when they visit your island, they are going to be turning some of your fruits / vegetables into pollinated. For example, do I have any pollinated stuff right now? No, it seems like at this very moment, I don't have anything pollinated in the garden right now. However, I do have some pollinated stuff, of course, in my inventory. For example, I managed to get myself this pollinated wet blueberry. Well, yeah, basically what you want to do with this pollinated stuff is you just want to head on over to Onnit over here. You want to give it to him, and then when you reach 10 kilograms of, compressed, I guess you could call it fruits / vegetables, well, yeah, it's going to be exchanging for approximately 10 honey. Yes, that's right, it's pretty much that simple. Now, some of the best ways in order for you to go ahead and get yourself some, good pollinated fruits is that you're going to be needing yourself some fruits that are relatively heavy in size. For example, melons will be really good. I mean, grapes could be considered really good because they are a little bit heavy, 3.35 kilograms. Then of course there's other stuff, for example, coconuts is really good. I mean, apples are relatively decent, but there's much better alternatives. Corn is really good. However, if you're like me and you're relatively new to the game, strawberries and blueberries will do just fine. However, do keep in mind, blueberries and strawberries, they barely weigh anything, so you are going to be needing quite a lot of them. However, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter whether you get a lot of pollinated stuff immediately, because when you do get 10 kilograms of, the pollinated stuff, there is going to be a 3-minute timer. In fact, if I go ahead and quickly exchange, let's say I go ahead and do this pollinated wet corn and as well, let's say this moon melon, because I mean it was literally 8 kilograms. Well, yeah, as I mentioned before, there's going to be a 3-minute timer, and then do keep in mind, when you buy stuff in the shop, there is of course going to be a stock, kind of like the rest of the things in this game. So if you were to, let's say, get yourself 100 honey, well, you're not going to be able to instantly spend it, because for example, the flower seed packs, they only come in increments of 1 to 3. So yeah, for those reasons, don't worry if you don't get a lot of pollinated fruits immediately. You have more than enough time before the next restock, so then that way you can save up enough, get yourself flower seed packs, and then, yeah, maybe get yourself a bee egg and a bee crate too. But anyways, apart from that though, what other things can you buy in the shop? Well, a lot of the stuff, especially the stuff at the bottom, is going to be mostly cosmetic. For example, there's a bee chair and honey torch. However, there are some stuff which are going to be helpful. For example, the honey sprinkler over here. Now, the big question is, what exactly does it do? Well, thankfully, I do have the full update log over here in the Discord server. Basically, what it does is, it will give you the honey glazed mutation, which is kind of like the pollinated mutation, but of course, much better. Now, how much better it is exactly, I am not entirely sure, because I don't believe they mentioned any specific multipliers over here. But maybe I'm wrong. Let me just quickly double check. Okay, here it is. So apparently the pollinated mutation gives a 3 times multiplier, and it's obtained through the swarm event. The exact same swarm event that happens I believe it's every hour. Well, yeah, it will give you a bunch of pollinated stuff. And then from there, the honey glaze mutation is going to be a 5 times multiplier, and you can get it either from the honey sprinkler or some other secret events. Now, what exactly those secret events are, I'm not entirely sure. Feel free to comment down below. Maybe I'll pin your guys' comments if you figure out what the secret events are, but since I don't believe any of them have happened just yet, I'll just leave it for time being and let you guys get a free pin down in the comments. And oh yeah, one last thing to mention is that there's the void touched mutation as well, which is going to be giving you a 135 times multiplier. But yeah, apart from that though, any other specific things to mention? I guess I could mention this. Do keep in mind, bees don't only just come when there's a bee swarm, there's also apparently a bunch of other bee weathers, so you don't have to wait every single hour for a singular pollinated plant. You could just wait, let's say, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then maybe a few bees would show up, they'll pollinate your plants, and yeah, you'll be able to get yourself some free and nice honey. Now last but certainly not least, what else could I mention in this update? Well, to be honest, there's not really much I could showcase because, you know, I don't exactly have, you know, for example, the queen bee, I don't have, you know, the sunflower. However, don't worry, if needs be, I'll make like a part 2 to this video, and from there, I guess I'll go over, you know, what is like worth it and what isn't. For example, the sunflower, is it the best seed? Well, most people would probably say yes, but apparently in the shop, there's supposed to be some kind of like new best seed, but then again, I might be wrong. Yeah, I don't know. In some of the videos that I saw on YouTube, I did see like an extra like special pack, and apparently sunflower wasn't the best seed, so I'm not sure why I don't have it, but yeah. In fact, here it is. Shout out to Psycho Rages for providing the video. This is apparently what it's supposed to be looking like. You know, the sunflower over here is 0.5%, and then there's some other one at 1%, and you know, it has like a question mark, it's rainbow. I'm going to assume that is better, even though for some reason it's more common than the sunflower. Yeah, I don't know. This was probably taken in the test server, so either it's not ready yet, or maybe it's a secret plant. Feel free to let me know down in the comments. Oh yeah, by the way, one last thing that I do want to mention is I want to quickly showcase what exactly the queen bee pet does. Now, shout out to this person over here, Zakir. Yeah, his TikTok's over here if you guys want to check him out. It seems like he managed to get not only the legendary, not the legendary, the queen bee, he also managed to get all of the other bees as well. For example, this is the baby. Every 15 minutes, he goes to a nearby fruit, tries to pollinate it, fails, and apparently turns it into honey glazed instead. Yeah, this baby sounds really broken. Then what about the other bees? Hold on, because I know there are more than one. So this is going to be the golden bee, which it is going to be doing relatively the same thing. However, it will apply the pollinated mutation, and then as well it has a 7.54% chance that harvested fruits become golden on harvest. However, do keep in mind, rare crops will have a less chance, of course, to turn gold. So you can't go to, like, let's say beanstalk, for example, and immediately get a golden version of it. So yeah, make sure you keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to the other bees over here, we have the UCB, or the petal bee, where basically it does once again the exact same thing. It will turn it pollinated, and then as well it has a 1.53% chance that the flower type fruit stays after harvest. So it's basically like, oh, you harvested it? Cool, well, now it's almost as if you never harvested it as well. Basically, you know, a little duplication stuff. Then as well, we have the basic bee over here, which is every 19 minutes. It is going to be pollinating a plant. You know, kind of like all the other bees, except the only thing it does is pollination. Now, last but certainly not least, we of course have the queen bee, where over here it seems like every 15 minutes, a nearby fruit will become magically pollinated, applying the pollinated mutation, and then every 25 minutes, a random pet will refresh its cooldown. Now, I'm gonna be honest, as a relatively new player such as myself, I don't understand how broken this is, but I'm going to assume that if a random cooldown gets refreshed, if you were to maybe apply that on, let's say, I know the raccoon is really good, so I'm sure if you were to maybe get yourself like a bunch of queen bees and a bunch of raccoons, maybe there might be like a cool combo, I guess you could call it. Yeah, I don't know. Feel free to let me know down in the comments how broken this is, so then that way I can be like, oh, awesome, when, you know, I actually get it. Once again, shout out to this guy for providing all of the relative information. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get that pet one day. But anyways, apart from that though, that pretty much wraps up everything for this update. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until next time, I'm gonna continue grinding because I really want to get OP in this game, especially since it's so popular. Like, I have a feeling that if I were to go OP in this game and, you know, be a bit more active, especially, you know, since it's summer, I feel like me and this game could really do well. So yeah, if you guys do want to see more videos on this game, feel free to show some love down below. And until next time, I'm gonna get back to grinding. So yeah, peace out.